Hello and welcome back to another episode of Who Doesn't Have a Podcast. Now, unfortunately, we lost a large part of this recording to tech issues, so if it feels like we're starting the podcast in a weird space, that's because we are. So I'd say we probably lost about 20 minutes of this recording, which was unfortunate, but we end up starting with the quiz, so, you know, you give a little, you take a little. Please enjoy and like and subscribe. Right. Let's play Catching Dan Up. What are we saying, boys? Should we just wipe the score sheet clean? New score. It's 0-0. Right, we're going to go straight into it. We're going to catch you up. So, as per usual, one of the three things I'm about to read out is true, and the other two are lies. Your job is to tell me what the truth is. Are you ready?
Hit me, Daddy.
Right. The Return of Dr. Mysterio features a companion called Machine. The Return of Dr. Mysterio features a companion called Machine Gun Shelley, whose version of a sonic screwdriver was an MG42 general purpose machine gun with a rate of fire of 1,200 rounds per minute and an effective firing range of 219 to 2,187 yards. Shelley's propensity to just reach and shoot was seriously problematic for the Doctor. At one point, without warning and with zero lead-up, she peppers 50 rounds into the titular Dr. Mysterio, only for them to bounce off his ripped and chiseled torso without even leaving a mark. Did we feel like we all got that one?
Somewhat, a roundabout.
Right. Dan, is this true? Joy to the World retcons a classic piece of Doctor Who lore in which it's established that the Star of Bethlehem is actually the meddling monk's TARDIS, parked there for eternity by the Doctor when the actual star is destroyed by the monk as a way of messing with Earth's history. Okay? And then the third one, Dan, did this happen? Joy's mother was being treated at the Royal Hope Hospital, which is the same hospital where the Doctor first met Martha Jones as it had been transported to the moon. There we go. So, quick freaking.
Dan, out of the second and the third one, which is the truth,
Right, Dan, quick recap.
I think we're all in agreement the first one is a lie.
Machine Gun Shelley?
Machine Gun Shelley, as much as I wish it was true, alas, it wasn't. I'm going to say, I'd love to say the third one about the Royal Hope Hospital being in that one, but then I'd also like to say that modern Doctor Who has quite a good knack of throwing back to early Doctor Who, kind of like rounding things up, catching people up, not just Dan. So,
what about Machine Gun Shelley peppering Dr. Mysterio with 50 rounds from her? Have we definitely ruled that one out?
I think so. Yeah. Sadly, but it put a smile on your face. That's the important thing, Mike. Okay, right. I am going to go with my instinct, my gut feeling, which is option number 2.
So you're going for
final answer?
I'm going for option number 2 with the monk and with the way the TARDIS was parked, being a hark back to an older episode.
All right. Well, I am overjoyed to inform you this week, Dan, that you are wrong. The truth is that Joy's mother was being treated at the same hospital where the Doctor met Martha Jones. So, for all of you score geeks out there, that means that Jerome and I are winning again. So,
to be fair, Mike showed me them earlier, and I saw the second one, and I thought in my head, I think we've got him. This week.
What did you think when you saw the first one?
Oh, sorry, did I say the second one? I meant the first one. I saw the first one, and I was like, we've got him.
We got him.
We've absolutely
got him.
We got him, lad.
Do you want me to give a really quick review of what I thought of the Christmas album?
No.
Or do you want me to just fuck off?
No, of course. Please, lead us in to your review of Joy to the World, the Christmas special for 2024.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good episode. I feel like Christmas episodes are always, they really can be anything. They can be Dr. Mysterio. They can be Trenzalore. To be fair, it's not my favourite Moffat Christmas episode because I feel like I think maybe Matt Smith's first one, which I particularly enjoyed because I just thought it was a very fresh take on a very well-known story. But I thought this would go on very long. But I think like the scene, a very, very good use of the bootstrap paradox, and Anita, really strong chemistry between character and the Doctor. And I thought that was honestly one of the strongest points of the episode.
Can I jump in? Because I want to hear your opinion on this. I think that Mrs. Flood is now... I think it's Anita. I think that's going to be the big reveal.
I remember you saying that. I think it's an interesting theory. I actually think that... I think like it's... I feel like the point of Anita's character was to show the kind of effects that loneliness and kind of the crazed headspace the Doctor goes into when they don't have a companion. And I feel like that, whatever it was, 10 minutes, 12 minutes of the episode really neatly does like menial kind of, human things, but doesn't do them like entirely human because they're not. But I just thought the chemistry between them was so strong. She might prove to be something a lot bigger, as in terms of a role going forward. And I think obviously she's been given a position at the Time Hotel. So in terms of time travel, maybe that could work with the Mrs. Flood theory. But I know we've got 2 companions next season because Millie Gibson's coming back. And we've got a new companion. I just feel like it's probably a theory for the sake of being a theory. But it could be. I feel like Mrs. Flood is going to be not human. I feel like she's going to be ethereal in some case, which makes me feel like it's not.
Just quickly before you go, the backbone of the theory is Stephen Moffat really cryptically said last year that he'd read the finale for the next series and the reasons would become obvious. So keeping in mind that he wrote the Christmas special and therefore introduced the character of Anita, that makes sense, especially if they're leaving the reveal as to who Mrs. Flood is until the finale, which you can see them doing. And the other thing is Anita Anita's role expanded. So apparently she was only supposed to have a few lines. And then as they were discussing it and developing the Christmas special, the character became a lot bigger. And 2, the theory is that Mrs. Flood is like the ultimate Doctor Who fan. And they kind of introduced that idea with her buying little bits of the little memorabilia of the TARDIS. Do you remember she's got all Laws becoming a bit famous, and she kind of becomes like a collector of his like memorabilia and stuff. So that's the backbone of the theory.
I think, just to wrap it off on my end, I think that that's a blue herring, because I feel like if we look at the twists and things that have happened over Doctor Who in the year, like there have been so many like nailed on theories that just seem like they should be right, and sometimes I think as fans we've been disappointed with the fact they haven't been right, some of the things we've come up with. But I think that I just get it hasn't sold on me yet. It could do. Maybe we see something in very early episodes of the next series that maybe go, oh, you know what? Actually, there's definitely creepy stuff. I thought it was quite actiony. It was quite action hero-y, which Doctor Who has become a little bit now. And the Bethlehem thing I got, and I thought was an interesting. I thought like was a cool way to kind of go down that approach. I don't know about the titles and the year at the end. I think that kind of maybe was a little bit too hammer and nail. But in general, I really enjoyed the episode. And I shall leave it, good people, with that.
All right. We bid you adieu. We'll see you next time.
Adieu, good sirs. Look after time and space for us. Bye for now.
So, I think we know your thoughts. Do you want to give your overall thoughts on what you thought of the episode? By the way, ages ago, we were discussing what our favourite bit of Doctor Who memorabilia that we've got around the house is. You may have been wondering why I'm wearing this apron. This is... It says eggs... Stir, mix, bait. Okay.
I feel the more I think about it, I think my favourite part of the episode was that bit where the Doctor is basically living out his life in real time. I thought that was a really solemn, kind of very wholesome moment with Anita, and kind of like opening her mind and proving to her that there is maybe a lot more to life than she had imagined behind a little desk in the hotel. Yeah, some really beautiful moments there. A lot of question marks as well, with the Doctor Who TARDISes, particularly with the fact that he mentioned something like, "Oh, there's a lot more of them. That there's more of them than I remember." Well, I don't know how meta he's going with that. I'm not too sure. I wonder. I'll be honest. I think a lot of what I would say, I would agree with Jerome. And I felt like a lot of the year bouncing around was a bit on the nose. The fact they travelled to the year 2 was a bit like, really. I feel like the dinosaur was an interesting creative choice.
The CGI was good.
It was. Do you know what? It was a lot better, unless they've changed it since that Children Need clip, because it looked a lot better watching it this time around. No, I think it was a good episode. Probably wouldn't go down as one of my favourites in this new era, but I liked the idea. I liked the kind of circling of the time to get back to the Doctor leaving the room in the first place. I kind of like the resolution, even though it was a bit cheesy. But again, New Who is incredibly cheesy. I thought that was very sweet. I thought it was all right. I think it was all right. Yeah, I've not really got much more to add to it than it was. It was all right. It was like comfort food on Christmas Day.
What did you think of the idea of the Time Hotel? Because I thought it was quite neat. I thought it was a very good Doctor Who idea.
I thought it was very good. I just feel like they didn't use it to its full potential, and I feel like.
But you can see a spin-off. The spin-off writes itself, doesn't it? Anita and the Time Hotel.
Oh, definitely, yeah. And I feel like that's not going to be the first time that we go back to Manchester in 1940 or the Orient Express or to Everest, because I feel like they're very oddly specific things to pick for a Christmas special. Why would you go to Everest in the 50s? Why would you go to Manchester during the height of the Blitz? Like, particularly Manchester. I feel like there's maybe more to that we will see more of further down the line. Whether that ends up being part of the war between that one, I forgot the name, or do you know what I mean? I feel like there's definite potential there for it to expand. But yeah, I'm guessing you really enjoyed that too.
I really enjoyed the episode as a whole. I thought it was quite tight. I thought it was really tightly written. I'm not a huge fan of Doctor Who Christmas specials, and for me it was up there. It's very good. I thought it was standard fare until the socio-political point they made about COVID, because I had thought I'd read some pre-reviews in which a lot of the reviewers it got really good reviews, but it was preparing people for this big moment that they were going to say would divide viewers. And for me, I definitely fell on the side of I really enjoyed that. I think it made it really human. It is a classic Doctor Who lefty liberal point to make. Like it's a very politically charged point. Some people hate that, but for me, it really landed because I don't really know how to describe it apart from COVID's become this thing that we don't really think about anymore. It's kind of just like an offhand comment, and for me, it really got to I really understood Joy's character's motivations and why she was so angry, and it hit me by surprise, which is a really shocking thing to say when you think about COVID as I'm going to say only 5 years ago. That's a bloody lifetime ago. But the fact that all of that has happened in that short amount of time, and I wasn't prepared for it to become a plot point in an episode of Doctor Who, I was kind of surprised by that. I was like, oh, that's a good reason as to why she's so angry. And it gave her a lot of weight. And then the hammy reveal that she's the Star of Bethlehem, and she shines on her mum in her COVID deathbed was really on the nose, but really emotional. I thought, it was really emotional. My wife watched it with me, and she's not really a fan of Doctor Who, and she was really surprised as to how hard it hit her as well. So, I think as a Christmas special, more so than any in recent memory, even the return of Dr. Mysterio with Machine Gun Shelley, where she's peppering bullets into Dr. Mysterio like no one's business, it served the populace as a kind of like episode of Doctor Who as opposed to just the fan base, which I thought was a bit like the Star of Bethlehem. Dan, I think it really shone bright in the BBC's Christmas lineup of festive treats. That's what I think. There we go. Didn't have too much standing on, I think, the series that we're about to get, I don't think, apart from the fact that I really, really, really do think that Anita is Mrs. Flood. That's just a theory. I can't say there were too many threads in there that I noticed.
Of the sort of mini clips that we saw as part of that teaser, which one grabbed your attention the most?
For Series 2, I think we're in agreement about this. Because for me, it is definitely that cartoon monster coming out of the cinema screen. That looked awesome. And I should say, it's also captured sort of public discourse. Like people that don't pay attention to Doctor Who, I've seen them commenting on it because I think from that mini clip alone, like it's really scary. Like it's a really, really scary idea. And obviously it plays into the fantasy element that they're going for now, which I know you're not a huge fan of, but when it's done right, and hopefully they don't botch the whole idea, like hopefully like how it looks in the trailer is how it looks in the show, and they build on it and it's really scary. I think that's going to be a killer episode.
And I think that's the thing with the fantasy stuff. If it has a bit of a, I don't know, a bit of a scary, a bit of a darker tone, because I feel like we've not had as many scares in modern Who as we normally have in the past. You normally have those odd few that sort of tap into like an inner fear, and we've not really had that so far, with the space babies. But just it's the last time I mention it, I swear to God. But I feel like with that one, and it's also quite funny because it's amazing for how long Doctor Who has run that's not the sort of monster that we've. It seems like such an brilliant idea, and we've never seen that explored before.
So I also don't think, like, in expanded media, in like expanded sci-fi or fantasy, I can't remember really seeing that idea in anything I've ever watched, even outside of Doctor Who. It seemed like a really fresh idea that at its core is actually really horrific. Imagine you were just in a cinema screen and something came out of the screen. Forget Spy Kids 4D, right? I'm talking real people coming out of the screen. Yeah, that particular bit from the trailer, I thought the trailer was very good. I think it did that thing where it doesn't give you too much, but it gives you kind of what you need to know. That particular bit got people talking, and I really, really hope it doesn't just fall flat on its arse. Or I really, really hope that it isn't just like that bit and the episode is about something completely different, and it's just like a good thing for a trailer, That'd
be a monumental screw up if they did. But fingers crossed they don't.
Because it really, to me, it really showcases what the partnership of the BBC and Disney can do. Because obviously, like, it looks amazing, that bit particular. I mean, the whole series looks amazing in terms of special effects. That particular bit, I think, really highlights like where the money's going. I also thought the same about the dinosaur in Joy to the World. It showcases. Yeah, I just hope it works. I really hope it works, and I hope everybody comes away from it being like, that was amazing. I also think, that Russell T Davies recently said that there is an episode coming up which is the scariest episode of Doctor Who he's ever seen, and I wonder if he's talking about that one.
Maybe. Quite possible. I've pulled this up as well because I saw this before. The Hollywood Reporter put together like a little story regarding a bit of the breakdown of that teaser. And some eagle-eyed fans, whether you are one of them, I'm not too sure, you might be a little surprised to spot a magazine containing a promotional picture for the Doctor Who 2023 specials featuring Catherine Tate appear in that trailer.
Right.
So, we'll in a couple of seconds with the Doctor and the occupants of what looks like a football-living barbershop in what is certainly not the UK, sucked out into some kind of cosmic storm. If you look closely at the magazines fluttering by, you can spot a magazine with the promo image of David Tennant and Catherine Tate escaping the TARDIS. Now, I'm sure you already know this, but it's hardcore Whovians will know this is not the first time Doctor Who has referenced itself. In 2014's In the Forest of the Night, what did we see in that episode, Mike? I'm going to test you.
In what year?
2014, in the episode In the Forest of the Night with Peter Capaldi.
I think in that episode we see one of the shittest episodes of Doctor Who that's ever been broadcast.
Yes, but we also see a London bus with an advert for the show on the side of it.
Did we? So, I didn't know that. So, for me, I'm genuinely not making this up for some sort of like special effect. That episode of Doctor Who is the only episode that I've never finished. I really struggled with it. Yeah, no, seriously. So
enlighten me. How come?
I'd have to rewatch it. It wasn't reviewed very well, and I remember watching it at the time and being like, I can't finish this. I might go back and be much more generous about it. I think the writer who did it is really talented, and the idea was like really honest about it. Like, by all accounts, I think it was supposed to be a really good episode, but something went wrong with it. I'd have to go back and watch it. But it is interesting what you said about referencing itself, because that is what I was kind of saying before about Anita's character collecting all of the TARDIS memorabilia. There's a theory out there that what they're going to explore next year is Doctor Who as a fandom. So the Doctor being some sort of famous figure, and the things that he interacts with, like his TARDIS and whatnot, being known and being quite famous, which I think is a really interesting idea. I've read rumours that they're going to introduce like the god of storytelling or something, or like the god of something that would kind of explain how that might fit into the world of like Doctor Who. But it would certainly be something we'd never seen before. It might also be a completely terrible idea, and this time next year we might be sat down discussing series 2 and be like, we were so off. None of our predictions came through. Mrs. Flood wasn't Anita, she was just some random. But yeah, there's an idea about Doctor Who referencing itself that people get really interested in, and I wonder if they're going to start exploring it.
A strong likelihood, and like you said as well, because it's something they've never really done before, it would be interesting to see how they would incorporate that to kind of give it like a certain level of self-awareness, which Doctor Who's never really had before and never really explored. But yeah, it's lining up for one hell of a series. Like you said, we've no idea when it's going to actually launch.
My theory is it's going to be launching at around March, April. That's my theory.
Okay. Do you reckon then? Do you know how long the episode run is of the new season? Or is it going to be the same as last year?
Apparently, it will consist of 8 episodes, which I think is the same as Series 14.
Okay.
Yeah, 8 episodes apiece. So it's going to be 8 episodes, I assume, followed by a Christmas special. I can't say I've heard much about a Christmas special for 2025. So this is what I mean. I hope they don't drop the ball. I hope they don't drop the momentum. Because if they haven't filmed anything yet, if they haven't filmed the Christmas special, we won't be getting a Christmas special, I don't think. Let me take a look at that, actually. Doctor Who 2025 Christmas special. Yeah, I can't see anything about them having filmed a 2025 Christmas special, which is alarming.
Mind you, though, saying that, they normally end up filming it in the summer anyway, don't they?
But I think 2024's Christmas special, the one that we've just watched, I'm relatively sure that was filmed in 2023.
Oh, right. Fair enough.
Fair
play.
I think it would be unusual to film the Christmas special in the summer before it's due to broadcast. This is kind of what I mean about it potentially losing a bit of momentum, because we had Series 1 and 2 locked and loaded, ready to go for distribution, basically filmed at the same time. The theory goes they should have filmed Series 3 last year in 2020. So because they haven't filmed Series 3 yet, and we're getting Series 2 coming up in the next few months, that means that they're going to have to film this year, but no starting date for filming has been approved because Disney haven't renewed the deal yet. So let's say they wait until the end of Series 2, which is apparently what they're doing, to renew it, to actually give it the green light. That means they don't film a new series of Doctor Who until, at the earliest, the latest of this year, and then throughout next year as well. There's no way that it would be distributed next year. So I think it would be distributed in 2027 is when that series would come out. And then next year, sorry, I know it gets a bit complicated. Next year, maybe what they'll try and do is bridge the gap with, what's it called? The spin-off, The War Between the Land and the Sea. But that, to me, loses a hell of a lot of momentum, especially if we don't have a Christmas special this year. That means that the last episode of Series 2 is the last bit of Doctor Who content we'll get until 2026, which will be a spin-off show. And then that spin-off will air. And then maybe we'll see Series 3 of Doctor Who in 2027, which is, that is a drop. That is a huge drop.
Major. And particularly when you think of, because I've never known a reboot of Doctor Who have such a massive amount of publicity behind it, which no doubt Disney helped fuel, but it's quite a scary prospect. It is quite a scary prospect. But speaking of season 2, because that will eventually come around very, very soon, massive shout out to Doctor Who filming locations, or at set_DW on X, as some working titles, potential writers and directors for the first half of season 2 have been supposedly announced. Now, I should say before we go any further, take this with a pinch of salt. These are subject to change. It is hearsay. We don't know exactly for certain.
Would you say? Sorry, Dan.
But-
Would you say I should pepper a pinch of salt at the edge of the universe, like the Doctor does in that second 60th anniversary special? Should I do that? There you go. Done.
I would do that. Yeah, I like it. That's niche. That's for the fans.
That's one for the
So-
Patreon subscribers.
So the 4 episodes that we have supposedly had some working titles for are. So episode 1 is going to be known as, or it's currently known as, The Robot Revolution.
Oh God.
Which would explain the red robots that we see in the teaser for season 2. Whether or not that means the Cybermen are going to be involved, I don't know, but I kind of hope they're going to have a bit of a break for now. That one has been written by Russell T Davies himself and has been directed by Peter Hall, who I don't know much about Doctor Who directors, but I think he might be a new one that's been brought on board. Hear me out. Episode 2 is known as Lux, Lux, penned by Russell T Davies again. However, this time it's been directed by Amanda Brocci. Now, I've done a bit of reading up on her. She's a Manchester-based director. She's done quite a few things for The Beeb, for ITV, for Sky, a lot of dramas, a lot of sort of comedy stuff. She seems to be a very good... Oh, sorry, no, Amanda Brocci, forgive me. I'm completely jumping the gun. Sharma Walfall. Sharma Walfall is one of the 2 writers, allegedly, for episode 3, 5 Miles Deep. She co-penned this with Russell T Davies, and Amanda Brocci, has directed that one. Sharma Walfall is a writer and director, but she's written a lot of stuff again for The Beeb, ITV, Sky, a lot of really good stuff of note. Apparently Russell T Davies has penned her out as this incredible writer with a real panache for characters and story-driven in multiple character story arcs as well. So the perfect fit for Doctor Who, as you can probably well imagine. So the final episodes, we've had The Robot Revolution, Lux, 5 Miles Deep, and the final one that we know so far, episode 4, is Lucky Day. So this is written by Pete McTighe, and Peter Hall has directed that one as well.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm not sure how much we can get off titles, but the immediate thing that I thought of is 5 Miles Deep. I wonder if that's in any way going to be related to 73 yards, just because of the use of a unit of measurement in the name, probably. Now, interestingly, the Pete McTighe, I believe, is... So he's written some really good Doctor Who episodes in the past. He wrote an episode called Kablam for Jodie Whittaker's series, which was really good. But I believe he is the co-showrunner of The War Between the Land and the Sea.
Interesting.
Yeah, Pete McTighe, I hope I'm saying that right, co-wrote The War Between the Land and the Sea. So I wonder if the episode that he's involved with, which one was that one, sorry, apparently?
That was Peter McTighe, does say.
Yeah.
Episode 4, Lucky Day.
I wonder if that ties into or leads into the spin-off in a really direct way. If he's involved with writing that, or if he's written that and he's the co-writer of the spin-off, I wonder if they're linked in any way. Although out of all of those, the one that I would say, just from title alone, that would lead into The War Between the Land and the Sea would be 5 Miles Deep, because the War Between the Land and the Sea involves the Sea Devils, and they supposedly control the ocean or live in the ocean, so I don't know.
Well, it's funny you say that, Mike, because supposedly the rumour is, just like with season 1, season 2, episode 4 is Dr. Light. Expect to see shooting at the start and the end of the episode, but not in between. The story is rumoured to focus on Ruby, Conrad, who's played by Jonah Hauer-King, and Unit. The Doctor and Belinda are involved at the start and relevant to the plot, but overall it's a Dr. Light episode.
Very interesting. And I'd say 73 Yards, Doctor Light episode, was one of the standouts of the last series. So hopefully they make that work. Well, thanks for that bit of info. I didn't know that. I'll put a spoiler for anyone that doesn't want to know the titles. But yeah, hopefully.
Oh, and one more bit of news. Apparently it's on here too. In fact, there's a couple more before we do wrap things up. Apparently, in the teaser, spaceships and saucers flying around. There are a few people on social media alleging that could be to do with the Daleks.
Did look like... Yeah. Yeah.
They are not coming back in season 2, apparently. But interestingly enough, Rose Eiling Ellis will join the cast of Doctor Who season 2, we believe in episode 3.
Yeah. I recognise that name. Why do I recognise that name?
So she was in. So Rose Eiling Ellis is an English actress, and she's a British Sign Language user. She's best known for her role in EastEnders. She's also appeared in a few other bits as well. But most notably recently on Shirley Come Dancing, when she was absolutely outstanding. But she's confirmed as one of the new characters in the next series.
Fingers crossed it isn't a character that gets introduced in one episode, has 5 minutes of screen time, and then we never see them again.
And again, one last bit of rumours, and we will move on, because I got really sucked into this whole. And if it is just hearsay, again, spoiler alert, this is not definite. This is just
we're going to create a new segment of the podcast called something like Dan's Rumour Mill, or
Dan's Dark Cave.
Say that again.
Dan's Dark Cave.
Okay.
Or Dan's Back Alley, whichever one's going to get more views. So interestingly, there is some speculation that season 2, episode 6 is some kind of music-focused / space concert / space Eurovision episode, rumored to guest star Rylan, and I'm not making this up. If they aired, and this is where it'll be cool if it lined up. They're not saying it will, but in theory, if they aired episode 1 on the 12th of April, episode 6 would be the 17th of May, which is the Eurovision date, and the final episode would be the 31st of May, or May Day.
Right, this is going to be simple.
May Day pulled out.
Say that again, sorry, I lost you.
Episode 1 on the 12th of April, episode 6, which is rumoured space Eurovision thing, would be on the day of Eurovision.
Mm-hmm.
And then episode 8 would appear on the 31st of May, which is also known as May Day.
Yeah, okay.
The only thing I'm thinking of swinging into it there is May Day something that is called out when people are stuck at sea?
Yeah, I mean, that's a swing. It's a swing. Listen, if Doctor Who this year follows up what is potentially the scariest episode of Doctor Who ever, with cartoon characters climbing out of cinema screens, with an episode that is backed by Rylan in some sort of Eurovision space opera, then that is the most Doctor Who thing I've ever heard. And in my mind, that is Doctor Who just shooting itself in the mouth.
Well, the only thing, and again, it's the last bit of leaks information that I'm going to pull out. This was I should have mentioned this ages ago. It's back in July last year. There had been what's new? There'd been a leak. There'd been some kind of leak. This one from Disney themselves. Of the Disney leak, it was discovered that Doctor Who, by Disney's words, allegedly, is considered a low-budget series.
Yes.
That season 2 is going to release on the 28th of March.
I could see that.
Starting with one episode, and the finale airing on the 16th of May, which would be Eurovision Day.
That matches up with stuff that Russell T Davies has said recently, which is that the second series is coming sooner than we think. So yeah, I can see it starting in March, 100%. So I can see it starting in March and us getting another trailer towards the end of this month, beginning of next month, I think. Yeah, let's hope it keeps the momentum going. That's another edition of what was it? Dan's Dark Cave?
Dan's Dark Cave, the working title.
We'll workshop. Dan dives 5 meters deep, something like that, into the internet.
Dan's leg.
Dan leaks in his pants.
Dan's wet leg. Let's go down Dan's wet leg.
It's got nothing to do. It's got nothing to do with spoilers. Dan's wet leg, or Dan has pissed himself.
Mike, did this happen? Dan pissed himself.
Great. Always who ended. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Who Doesn't Have a Podcast. We'll see you next time for something else. for more banter, maybe someone will. Oh no! I was cooking with chili tonight, and I've just rubbed my eye.
Oh God. Well, while Mike receives medical attention and possible amputation, please feel free, while he's able to check out at Who Doesn't Pod, as well as all the socials, where we'll be kicking off the new year in style with more clips, quizzes, and other forms of entertainment online. Did that sound all right? I hope so.
Just a live video of Dan pissing himself.
That's Patreon.
That's Patreon. Live stream. A live stream down your leg.
Dan's live stream. That's it. Thank you for watching, everybody.
Love it. All right, I'm going to stop the recording.
I've been in Bethlehem. He's been sat along too. And Jerome's been taken elsewhere. Au revoir.